Yes, sir. Welcome back to another episode of the Highlight Reel. Let me go ahead and we have another episode, another banger today, and we are here with the Cici Michelle.
Hey.
Cici, tell the people who you are.
I'm Cici. I'm from Maryland. I'm a content creator, and what else?
Yeah, we gonna get into it for sure. And we are out here in DC. Very interesting area. I know I kept telling you I don't know if I ever want to be this close to the White House. It just feels like really weird. I'm like, dang, it's so much attention on this one place.
I think, but we're not that close to the White House.
I think it's just the fact that driving out here. Yeah, just the fact I was driving out here and I could see it is.
Yeah.
I've never ever seen it.
That's what it is.
Yeah, all the monuments in this area. I'm like, bro, what am I looking at?
Well, you have to have like a day where you look at like the monuments and like museums and all that kind of stuff.
I do need to have one of those. But I'm so glad to have you as a guest. This is actually, I've been looking forward to this ever since I started this season. I was like, I bet I'm gonna try and get Cici on here, just see how that goes. This should be really interesting. And we're gonna get into a lot of things because obviously you are doing great on social media. I've known you before that, so it's gonna be interesting when we dive into some of those memories. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, just tell the people, who is Cici? What have you been doing? What are some things that you've been up to? What are some interesting things you've been up to?
Yeah, so I'm a recent graduate. I just graduated from Kent last year. It's almost been a full year. So yeah.
How's that feeling?
Honestly, it's not like it went by quick.
I know.
But it's not as like when I was in school, I'm thinking like, oh my gosh, post grad, like moving back home. Like I had just so many ideas of what it was going to be like, and it honestly has not been bad at all. Like I'm grateful for how it's gone.
Ooh, so and I have opposite.
I know, it's like everyone had a different experience, but
it's been no joke. So so you graduated. What have you been doing?
I had this thing where like my first year after graduation, I told myself I'm not going to use my resume and I'm not going to apply for any jobs because I'm going to pursue content full time.
Oh, wow. That's a big move. That's a bold move. I was about to say, like, hold on, you're not going to send your resume anywhere.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
So I told myself I'm going to pursue what I want to do 100%, and I'll do it for a year and see what comes from that, see where it gets me. If I like hate it or like I'm like, why did I do this? I'm a failure. Like if I have that feeling, all right, we'll dust off the resume. We'll start, get the LinkedIn profile updated. Wow. But so far it's been going pretty good. I've been been able to like travel a lot, which was like really important to me.
Yes, ma'am.
And just like, I don't know, not be so like burnt out. Like I have control over my time for like once in my life, it feels like. So yeah, that's kind of how
that's
things
beautiful.
Have been going.
That's actually a really bold move. You said not send out any resumes or apply for any jobs, but I also think that speaks to your faith in yourself and your faith in God, because that is no joke. I mean, I would consider myself as a bold person in that, to not do any of that and say, you know what, I'm going straight for this and we're just gonna see where it goes. And it seems like it's working out for you.
Yeah, and it's been hard too. Like I have these email updates from what's that app, Creatively?
Okay.
I don't know if that's the name of the app, but it's an app where it's like a job search app, like a LinkedIn kind of, not LinkedIn, but a LinkedIn kind of thing, but for creative jobs. So it'll like send you notifications when there's a job opening at a more creative position.
Okay, so you've been on there.
No, I'm saying like I had notifications already set up in my email from there.
Okay.
So whenever I'm seeing like a cool job pop up, I'm like, I'm qualified for this. What if I just apply and like,
So have you?
No, I haven't. But I've had thoughts where I'm like, let me give myself something to fall going. Like, let me just apply. But like, I'm like, no.
Okay.
Let me just like.
I might have to check this out. Creatively.
Yeah, I think that's the name. If that's not the name of the app, then I'll figure it out. But I think that's the name. But yeah, it's like a job hunt app strictly for creative jobs.
Right. Okay. So you are now a full-time content creator, and like I said, it seems like it's working out. So what are some of the interesting projects and interesting things that you've done? Because a lot of people now want to be content creators. So that's why I always think it's interesting to meet people that are doing things that a lot of people want to do, because I'm pretty sure you can speak to how hard that is or how challenging it is, and just the different things that have changed for you. So what are some of the things that you've been doing with that?
Yeah, so I just recently got accepted into the Ulta Beauty Collective, which is basically like a team of creators that work with Ulta for the entire year.
Yeah.
And it's something that I applied for like when I first started. Like it's a yearly thing, so they send out applications every year.
Okay.
And it's like basically they choose 20, I think, or so influencers to basically be Ulta's go-to people for collaborations and stuff. And I applied like 2 years ago, didn't get it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, every year they send out the application, and I didn't even bother applying last year because I'm like, well, if they didn't take me the year before, they ain't about to take me now.
Right.
And so this year when I got the application, well, technically last year because it was like December or something, I like halfway did the application, and I was like, why am I even doing this? Like, I'm not about to get it. They didn't, like, I applied before. They're not even about to, like, accept me. Yeah, so sabotaging. And then so it was due, like, January, like, early January, something like that. Okay. And so I just left it, you know, I saved what I had so far, but I just left it. And then I got an email from a lady saying, like, hey, like, I see that you have only half of your application done, like, do you plan? And mind you, this is in February at this point, so they had already the application was due January.
I was about to say, like, am I tripping, or did you say it's due and then you?
It was due in January. I get an email in February saying, like, I see your application's halfway done. Like, please just fill it out.
That's
like,
a favor, right? Yeah, there, for sure.
And so, and like, I'm like, okay, and I'm at a coffee shop, like, I'm at Fashion Week at this point too, so I'm like, in between events, like I don't even have that much time, so I'm just like, okay, so let me fill it out on my phone real quick. Yeah. Just thought of everything kind of like from the heart on the fly, like answered the questions, and then like I instantly got it. They're like, yeah, Ulta like wanted you, like
they had to. Yeah. They had to. They said, all we need you to do is just finish.
Yeah.
The application,
they said that. Yeah, I just hand selected everything. So I'm like, wow, like. Wow. So that's been like a really exciting thing for me because going into this year, one of my main goals was stability. Like there's so much like instability with this industry because you got to keep up. And like with Ulta, that provides me like my first full year doing it just gives me confidence that
so once you get it,
you're working with it for that year. So it's like I'm guaranteed a collaboration at least once a month. Ooh. So that is like perfect way to start out the year. Like, okay, I'm meant to do this, I'm supposed to be doing this. Like,
that's beautiful.
So yeah, that's like my big thing this year.
Absolutely.
So yeah, and I've worked with like other cool like brands and stuff that's like allowed me to travel. Like I went to the Made in America festival in Philly with Rock Nation. That was cool,
man. So, it's just, I think it's cool to see all these different things because like I went to school with you and I knew you before that, so to see all these things happen, it's actually encouraging because I feel like you're not too far. Yeah. Because I see you doing the things that you want to do, and I went to school with you, so it kind of makes me think, you know what? I was just in the same position as this person. I'm pretty sure I can make something for myself as well. Definitely. So I think it's actually really encouraging. But so you've been doing that. So let's kind of get into what got you into this in the first place. Because as I said, I've known you since before you were doing this, and I remember it seemed like maybe I didn't have TikTok at the time. But I think you did something on TikTok, or maybe you had a few posts that were on TikTok, then they just blew up, and then next thing I knew, it started to consistently just grow from there. So speak to that experience a little bit.
Yeah, so I started TikTok like during quarantine.
Yeah.
I feel like that's when a lot of people like just started because it's like, what else was there to do?
I should do something.
And one of my friends, Cody, you know Cody, who was on our RA staff. Cody was the one who told me about TikTok. Like I had I've never even heard of it. And Cody was like, you would do great on TikTok. Like, why don't you make videos? Lying. And I'm like,
he wasn't lying.
I don't know. Like we were still in school, so I just wasn't thinking about that. So I'm like, I don't know. So when I get home and I have nothing to do, my sister's like doing all these dances on TikTok and stuff. And she's like, this app is so fun. You got to try it out. And I'm like, well, I can't dance.
Oh, yeah. Let me find something.
Yeah, I will find something that, you know, I would want to post. And so I was doing my hair that day. So I just did my hair, recorded it. I didn't know, looking back at the video, like, I probably had fingerprints on my camera. Like when I tell you I did not like really know too much about.
You got to start somewhere. Right. You don't know till you don't know.
quality was not the best. Like I was zoomed in halfway, like, but I just recorded it. And that night, it had like 1 million views, like that same night. And I was like,
so how'd that feel when you woke up to that? Were you, I'm guessing it's overwhelming.
it was confusing because I'm like, I remember asking my sister, like, what does the M mean? Like, what does like, what, like, I really like, did I, mind you, this is my first time even using the app. I had not scrolled on it previously. I downloaded TikTok and pressed the plus to create something like.
So this is the first video you ever did?
Yeah, first video I ever did. And then first time ever even using the app. So I haven't even scrolled.
Oh yeah, you were shook. You were, oh, okay. Yeah. I can get you, but I probably would have thought, I'm on a social media platform.
Yeah. Like, I'm like, is this supposed to have this M here? Like, what is this? She's like, that's 1 million. Like, what?
And she was shook.
Yeah, she was shook. And this was like around the time we were coming back to school just to get all of our stuff, like off campus and stuff, because that's when they confirmed that we were going to be home for the summer and stuff.
Yeah.
And I remember like going to like the hotel to go back to Ohio and getting my stuff. And then at that point, it was at like 2 million views or something like that. So I'm like telling my mom and dad in the hotel room, like, I have a video like with 2 million views on TikTok. And they're like, what? Like, so yeah, it just was kind of like share the moment kind of thing.
So when in that moment, were you thinking, dang, now I have to keep this up, or this will probably die down? I'll probably just be fine from, like, you know, everybody will maybe get a viral video and move on, but you're thinking, no, I can maybe do something with that.
It was a mixture of both, because the funny thing is I used to make like videos, like hair tutorials on my iPad, like probably in high school, like freshman year of high school.
So you would make them and not put them anywhere?
Yeah, I would make them and not post them. But I would I just wanted to play around with iMovie and like, you know, the editing apps and stuff. So I would record myself doing my hair all the time and record my little twist outs and stuff. But
so you had some former practice.
Yeah, I had some former practice, but just like for the fun of it, just to see if I did have a YouTube channel, this is what I would post, like kind of thing. But I just really wanted to play around with editing. Like that was kind of my thing. And so I was like, wait, I can actually do this. Like, why not just make another one? Like, I love everything beauty, like hair, makeup, and stuff like that. So I could easily just make another one and see how it does. And so, and it just was something enjoyable too. Like, it wasn't like, oh, I got to keep up with this. And people want to see more. Let me just, but it was just kind of like, oh, I got this idea. Let me try to like, you know, create it. So
I feel like you definitely were in a great spot with that, because if it's something that you already love to do, then if someone says, hey, can you do this? Or if you just want to make one, it's not a lot. Some people go viral for something that they just want to be goofy about. Then they think, I have to keep up
and
with
then they
that.
have to keep up with
I don't want to do that. So this was kind of cool for you, because so it's funny when I watch your videos, because I obviously won't do really anything with it. For me, just because I don't do my hair like that, but I can see why people are super interested in them, because I'm like, dang, her transition's clean. I mean, the camera quality, like what's going on, it's so much that goes into it. But I think one of my favorite things that I've seen you do from your videos is when you kind of get into educating a little bit. When you do like the hair history and stuff like that. I love those. I personally love those, because I can tell that you're having fun, but that's something that's going to also provide a further value to people, because they're thinking, oh, she's doing this, or she's showing appreciation to this because of this, or when she looks like this is where the inspiration came from. So you're kind of spreading the word about culture. So I think, because you're essentially like a kind of culture curator at this point. So I love seeing that. So is there any like style that you prefer to do typically?
I think it's different for every platform.
Because I think like most people probably know you for, you have hair out.
Hair, So on TikTok, I've been just liking talking a little bit more. It's going to be a while to get comfortable. Like, if people have been like following me for a while, they know that like I used to not talk in my videos. Like, hearing yourself back talk is so weird. Like, I would listen to myself back like, why do I sound like that? Like,
oh my.
So that just was a thing for me. I'm like, I have like an odd, like annoying voice to me. So I'm like, I can't talk in a video.
But I think it's funny because the videos that you do talk in, you seem like somebody's friend. Yeah. That's why I think it works. Because you have your times where you're on social media and let's just say it's kind of candid. You're not always super dolled up, right? To me, those are hilarious, and it shows how relatable you are, because some people, they feel like, well, once you know me for looking like this all the time, you're going to expect that all the time, and that gets tiring and exhausting. But when they see you fresh out of a bonnet with some, like, basically in your, let me say, I don't know, how do I say it? Just you're not super dolled up.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it there, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking, oh shoot, that kind of is intriguing to people because they're thinking, hold up, this isn't what I typically see from her.
Yeah.
So let me see what she's saying, and then you're actually funny. You're actually funny. Yeah. So you cracked me up, but I think that makes you more relatable. So the talking, that's why I kept asking if you would be nervous to do this, because you said that you've been getting comfortable talking.
Yeah, I've been getting more comfortable.
Yeah.
Like when I first started it, I would not talk in a video. Like you would not catch me talking. But then again, the platform has changed so much. Like you could get away with not saying a word back when TikTok was like quarantine days, maybe 2021. Like you could get away with never speaking and having a huge platform.
Yeah, it's only one person I know that really got away with that. And I can't remember his
It's
name.
a lot of, the dancers and like the people who just lip sync the songs. Like if you kind of post that kind of stuff now, you're not going to blow up the same way that you might have blown up back like a year or two ago. Because right now it's really about like community. Like I feel like so many of the apps are really pushing that community thing because they want to keep people on the app. They want somebody for that person to want to follow. Was that a proper sentence? They want back in my head, that was not a sentence, but they want the audiences to have somebody that they like want to follow.
Yes.
So
okay, all right.
They want creators to talk. That's why they have like longer form videos now, because they want us to be more personable with our audience to keep them here.
Yeah, that's why I thought this would be a good opportunity, because as you were saying, you've been getting more comfortable. And I feel like this would be a interesting way for people to kind of get to know you in a different way, in a more long form. But I also just wanted to talk to you and chop it up, because ever since I've seen you kind of have this rise as a content creator, as I was saying earlier, I've been having more and more questions, and I kind of want to we're going to get into one of the questions I had in a second. But every time someone I know continues to get to a higher level, it encourages me, it inspires me, and it genuinely makes me have questions for you, because I'm thinking, okay, what is it that I could do, or what can I learn from you to kind of get to that same place? I might not be doing the same thing as you, but what can I learn from you so we can either collaborate at some point in the future, or so I can kind of get to that same point? Because I feel like since, again, we went to school together, it doesn't seem so foreign. When it's someone that you don't know, you think, that's cool, I probably could do it, but I don't know that person. When you were on the same RA squad with that person, or you went to school with that person, maybe had a class with them, you're thinking, bro, I know them. I can actually kind of tap them and say, hey, what's going on with that? So let's backtrack a little bit to college. So, all right, both went to Kent State. So what did you go to Kent State for?
Fashion merchandising.
Okay. So do you feel like, and I'm not trying to, this is not like a trap question or nothing like that, but do you feel like you are kind of using that in the things that you've been doing as a content creator?
Not really, to be honest. The thing I use like Excel, Google Sheets. Yeah. And I feel like I use that a lot for like my finances and stuff, because I have to manage my own stuff.
Beautiful.
So I feel like the like what I learned in school and like those computer classes, like learning about Excel and stuff, I use that. Okay. And then like basic math for that. But other than that, I don't really think I use anything that I learned in school. Like in terms of education wise, like of course, like the life lessons I might have learned and like the, stuff about time management. I feel like I can pull from school, like, using a planner and staying up on top of your stuff, because you have to be disciplined, because you're a boss really. But
pros and cons, right? Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of like the education, I don't think that I'm really using too much of what I learned.
I was just interested because I think being a social media influencer and being someone interested in fashion, I feel like a lot of times they go hand in hand, because whenever you're going somewhere, right, you always have a different kind of fit on. So I'm thinking, what about the fashion, like what about fashion that you learned goes into that process? Or maybe you just always knew how to dress or whatever. You know what I mean? Like some people just have it like that. And I said on a recent episode, I don't always feel like I know how to, I'm slowly coming along. Yeah. But I don't consider I don't always say I'm a big stepper. You know what I mean? Like I have my moments, and then other than that, I'm kind of just chilling.
It's funny because I feel like people, they have an idea of what we learn in fashion school, but what people think it is, it's not really. Like, we didn't learn how to dress. We didn't learn how to sew. We didn't learn how to put together an outfit. Like, So it's like, that's what I'm doing in social media. Like, and when I'm taking my pictures, okay, but that's all from like, I just
in
just,
you, not on you, right?
So I knew already how to do that. Like, but the stuff that we learned, I can say, because we did take a fashion tech class where we learned how to do like Photoshop and all that kind of stuff. And even though I don't use Photoshop, I use like Canva. And I feel like some of those.
Shout out to Canva.
Yeah, shout out to Canva, honestly. It's like
Canva
easier.
be getting people through it.
If you have Canva Pro, I feel like that's like an easier version of Photoshop, honestly.
Okay.
But
pro tip.
Yeah, pro tip. Because I sucked at Photoshop, like couldn't do it to save my life, and I hated it. But I mean, I guess like maybe some of those like computer softwares. Because before I used Canva, I used Adobe Spark, and I learned how to use that in my fashion tech class. So I guess that can kind of go hand in hand. But like in terms of like in our fabric classes, I still use that information just for my personal knowledge. Like, oh, cool, I know what this fabric is. I learned about it. But like, I don't need to know it, you know?
Yeah. I just, because fashion to me has always been interesting. And then, of course, you be throwing some fits on. So when I see certain things, I'm thinking, bro, I would never have thought to do that. But I think that is something that is innate, because I might not be the best dresser, right? But I can speak pretty well. Right. Like some people can dress and cannot say a lick.
Yeah.
So, different gifts, different things. But I think that this actually works out amazing for you as far as just styling. Because I feel like pretty sure you usually styling yourself, right?
Yeah.
So it's just always cool to see those things. But so some other experiences at Kent. So obviously you remember when we were on the same RA team.
Yes. How could I forget?
That is, every time I think back to that, I just think that's so funny because I think I forget it sometimes. I'm like, dang, we were definitely RAs together. And it was for 1 year. It was the COVID year. Oh, my gosh.
Was that the year we went into COVID? I think
you were a sophomore. That was your first time being an RA. And I was a junior.
Yeah.
You ever miss those times?
No.
And
I was just talking about it today, honestly. Okay. I was like, I don't miss it because it was what it needed to be when it needed to be it. You know? Yeah. Like, I don't think like, oh, I'd go back and do this and that. Like, I feel like I did my time. Yeah. Like, and it wasn't like I had a horrible time in school and hated being an RA or anything like that. But it just like, it served its purpose when it needed to. Right. And I was able to, have a happy ending to it and just, move on to the next chapter. So
after, because that happened my junior year. And then, so that kind of leads into when we all went home. Yeah. And then you started to shoot the content and everything. Okay. So one of the things that I remember, this is kind of after a lot of things got more settled, we were able to come back to school. I remember my senior year and your junior year, I remember I saw you. I think I saw you on campus. I think I was doing something for homecoming or whatever. And I think you were already doing pretty well on social media. So I remember I asked you, and I had to be careful how I asked. I was like, okay, so I'm pretty sure there were certain things that could kind of signify and show me that you were basically getting paid for social media. So I remember I asked you, how is balancing that? And how is balancing that with school? What is that like? And I remember you said to me, it put it like this: it makes it hard for me to want to stay at school. Like, speak to that a little bit. What was that like?
Yeah, like, so by the time I started creating content, and it just like, I feel like there were so many signs that this is the path that I was meant to take. Like, the odds of my first video blowing up and just like getting opportunities pretty quickly and them coming to me and me not having to go fight so hard to get them. I'm like, I feel like this is just like God telling me this is what you're meant to be doing, and like just take it as far as you can. So I'm like, at that point I already knew what I wanted to pursue. So it's like I'm in school studying something that's interesting to me and that I enjoy, but just isn't the path that I know I'm about to take right now. Right. So I was like, at certain points there was time where I was putting more effort and more just like passion into the content than I was like actual school. And I finished because it was important to me to like, finish it out, graduate, get my degree. And like, you never know when you can use your degree down the line. So, and I would never like, if I was to go back, I would never say like, oh, I wouldn't do college. I would just go straight into creating content. Like, college built me into the person that I am today.
Right. Because I mean,
So,
if you didn't go,
yeah, if I didn't go,
we wouldn't have met.
we wouldn't have met.
So
I
a lot
wouldn't
of
have
your
never
friends, yeah.
like moved out on my own and lived on my own at that age. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? So college definitely was like necessary for me, but it was one of those things where it's like, I just gotta thug it out now. Like,
Yeah.
I already know what I want to do.
And that's because to me it's like a double-edged sword. It's a blessing, but at the same time you're thinking, dang, I could leave all of this, but this was here before this. So
Right.
then I feel like I'm leaving a part of myself in a way. But I remember I feel like that's a part that people don't typically hear about, especially if you're in college and you're a content creator. When things start to go well for you, then you have those choices to make on as far as, okay, should I pursue this or should I pursue that, because nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah.
And I remember I told you, like my 2 cents was, if it was me, I think I would finish, just because you're already here.
Yeah.
Compared to having to come back, then you have to get your motivation up to go
Yeah.
back to school. I'm thinking, look, you're already here. Because this is my senior year, so you're a junior. I'm thinking, look, you're already like more than halfway there. If you finish that and then you continue with your content creation, you have both.
Yeah.
So you're in a really good, sweet spot.
Right.
So I remember I was thinking you should continue to go forward with that. So how I feel like you navigated that pretty well. So what are some other challenges that have kind of come up since you've become a more prominent content creator?
I think like realizing that I have to be my own like motivator. Like, you have to have discipline in it.
Yeah.
Because there's nobody telling you, hey, you got to create a video like right now, or else you're going to fall off. Nobody's going to know who you are.
Yeah.
Like, you got to stay up with, you know, the times and whatnot. And there's like, you have to if you want to stay relevant, I guess. But you technically don't have to. Like, I could sit here and be like, I don't want to do it. And sometimes I do that. I'm like, I don't feel like creating today. And that's okay. Like, you know, but
I think you've made some content around that, actually.
Yeah.
So again, it makes you relatable.
Yeah.
Continue.
So it just is like, you have to have like self-discipline, which is not something that comes natural to me. Like, I'm not a naturally self-disciplined person. I don't think I'm a natural hardworking person. Like, people might see me as hardworking, but that's never something I would describe myself as. Like, I have to fight to work hard. Like, I feel like I know hard workers. It's so natural in them. They just want to do something. Like, I want to sit down. I don't want to do that. Like, you know, so it's like,
I want to chill.
I want to chill. I wouldn't do anything right now. So I really have to push myself to like be disciplined, you know, get stuff done, make my to-do list. It took me about 5 different forms of like writing things down to see what kind of like system works for me. Because it's like, you don't have something in play. When you go to like, you know, a job and they're giving you the orientation, at the orientation, they teach you, this is how we do things here. Like, in the morning, you come here, you do this, and then this is what your day looks like. But I had to like create my day and what that looks like. And some things that I tried failed, like me trying to write things down at this point, or like I had a moment where I was like writing out my schedule, like at 10 a.m. I'm going to eat breakfast. And then at 11 a.m. I'm going to do this. And then at 11:30, I'm going to do that. Like, I had to write out times that I was doing stuff because I felt like I wasn't being productive enough. And I was like, no, that's too much for me. Like, it's too much of a schedule. So then I like toned it back a little. I'm like, okay, by 12, I want to have this done. But then I'm like, what if something came up? And, you know, so it just was.
Okay, see, okay.
It was trial and error.
That's, okay, I'm not mad at that. I think, so I'm going to say a few things. So it's interesting that you say you don't naturally describe yourself as a hard worker, but then all of these things that have been happening speak to your hard work, which is interesting. But then I would probably describe myself kind of as a hard worker, right? But one thing that's really weird for me is I don't really do the best job of always planning things out as far as writing it down. I think I'm more the type where if I have it in my mind and it's basically ingrained, it's gonna get done. It's gonna get done. I don't know when. Now maybe I should do something like that to kind of solidify that, but it'll get done, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like I resonate with what you just said, because sometimes if you plan everything out, you feel like there's no variation.
There's no room for...
So let's say it's somebody that you haven't seen, let's say your best friend, you haven't seen him in a long time. They say, hey, I'm in the area. Would you like to hang out today? But you had this time planned.
Right.
You kind of feel bad because, again, it speaks to balance, which is something else I feel like I struggle with, right? But you want to make sure that you're getting these things done, but at the same time, you have to have a life to live. So I think it's interesting because I see both from you, and then I also feel like I experience both as someone that would describe themselves as a hard worker, but I don't always plan things. That sounds weird.
Yeah.
You work hard, but you don't plan what you're going to do. It's like, no, I just get up and do it.
Yeah.
Because like, as you were saying, some people just want to work hard. They just want to get up and do something. You say you don't always feel like that. Me, I kind of do feel like I want to get up and let's knock this out today. But we're on different sides of it, but you also just see how those experiences are different.
Yeah.
So that's, the whole planning thing, I feel like I've seen you make content around that, or I just am very aware, I'm very sure. As a content creator, if you don't have a boss, you kind of have to do that on your own. So, I wanted to see what that experience was like, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people want to know what that is or what that would be for them, and that's what it is for you. It might not be the same for somebody else.
And I'm like thinking of like all these different stuff and looking at tutorials and stuff like that, but it wasn't working for me. So I really have to develop my own system of what works for me.
Yeah.
And it just took time and me like failing at like, wow, I didn't get none of this done today,
Exactly.
for me to get to a place where I'm like, okay, this system works.
That's a word. Oh man. Yeah. So are there any other challenges in particular? Because I'm guessing a lot of people will start to think about maybe, but might be treading lightly. But as far as when people start to see you as famous, right? And then you have to have those hard talks. Have you had any of those? Let's put it like that.
I don't think so, to be honest. Or I might be oblivious in that sense, because one of my friends who was like kind of mentoring me at the time, once I kind of started blowing up, was telling me like, you got to know that like sometimes people are going to want to be in your space just to get something, or just to like, get the inside scoop, or like get something out of you, or, just to say they were in your space or something like that. And I remember first hearing it like, me? Like, are you sure? I'm like, I don't think it's that deep. Like, I'm sure I'm cool enough for people to want to be around. Like, but like, I feel like I can see it now. Not that I've had like a bunch of experiences like that, but I can see how that could be true. Yeah.
Because I think, for example, even me, as far as reaching out to shoot with you, that was something I was nervous about, because I was thinking, okay, obviously there is an opportunity for like growth for me on this, right? But I also just wanted to kind of show people and let people learn a little bit about who you are as a person. But that's something that, even for me to ask like to work with you, I wonder what that would be like for you as the person, because I'm pretty sure some people start coming out the woodworks, and that's something I always think about. Whenever you want to do well in something, you want to do well, right? Until doing well comes with those talks. That's such a hard place to be, because you don't want to stop doing what you're doing, but you don't want to have to tell people that you love and that you care about, hey, look, I hear you, but I don't necessarily trust what you're trying to do here.
Yeah. Like, I help out where I can. Like, I've had people like, people who are like close to me or family or anything. Hey, can you actually just post this real quick? And I'm like, okay, well, I actually care about my page. I don't just want to post a random whatever onto my random video.
Right. It's like that. This brand and how everything works is what has got me to this point.
Yeah. Just for the sake of it, just to, but I will, I'll repost something. I'll like support in my own way, or, whatever. So it has brought like, just people thinking, oh, it's whatever. You can just post anything, promote this. And I'm like, no, I'm not about to just collab with anybody or promote, because this is like my platform. Is my, and it's like my baby. Like, I'm not about to just do whatever just because I can.
There are so many things that could jeopardize it,
right?
That you might not even think, like just simple things. So you have to really think hard about it.
Yeah.
But I also think it's really cool because like while I was setting up, you were on the phone with your friend.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to see that some of those friendships that still stay very much intact, and because I wasn't eavesdropping or nothing, but it seemed like your friend was just chopping it up and just being, your silly close friend. So just seeing those relationships that are still maintained, I love to see that for people that are continuing to do well, because I'm pretty sure your friend is like, because I was really thinking from the perspective of your friend, right? I don't know who your friend is, but I was thinking she might be thinking about you, where sometimes where you are doing so well that you get lonely, right? You might think, dang, I can't talk to anybody because there's a lack of trust, or I just feel like people don't relate, or different things like that. So some of your friends might be thinking, you need a friend. I was there before, so I'm still your friend. So I think it's beautiful when those relationships are maintained, because just a little bit I heard your friend say, I was thinking, like, y'all were having a very interesting conversation. Y'all having a very interesting conversation, but just being able to hear those things, it's like, it's heartwarming, because I'm thinking, okay, everybody needs that. Everybody needs that. What else was I gonna ask? But yeah, it's like those relationships, I think, are so important as far as being able to continue to keep that light within yourself, because I'm sure, as you were saying, you have to get up to do things sometimes where you don't have a boss. There are pros and cons to that too, right? When you have a boss, you got somebody that's kind of gonna maybe take responsibility over you, help you to say, all right, I need you to do this, so you don't have to think about it, you just do it. Whereas you have to say, okay, I need to get up, I need to do this. Like, you have to tell yourself to do it, different things like that, right? But what are some other things that you do that kind of lighten the load for you, just bring you joy?
Yeah, I think just being here, like being at home, I think really helps with that, because my thing was, as soon as I graduate, I want to move to like New York and like, you know, just get started with networking and, you know, making a name for myself in the industry and all this kind of stuff. And it just didn't go like that. And like right in the beginning of like, not in the beginning, it honestly was for a hot minute after graduation where I'm like, I need to be out there. Like I need to like move away from home. And I need to like be somewhere else. Like, but I noticed that home kind of grounds me, and I need this time now to be grounded and be around the people who don't see me as Cici Michelle, they see me as Sierra. Like, girl, what? Like,
you actually said that. Look at you. Nah, I can agree with that, because I had an experience where right after I graduated, I moved to a different city, and I just personally had a rough go of it, but it makes me appreciate when I do come home, because there are people around me that I know I can kind of just be me around, or just it kind of helped to ground me. I think that's a really important point that you brought up, actually, because at this point in your life, it's a lot going on. You don't know what you need to be doing. You feel like you're behind. You feel like you may be too far ahead. There's so much going on in our brains right now. So to have that space where you are just grounded.
And like, we're
important.
still young adults developing into the people we're meant to be. Like, we're in no means, like, I know we're grown, but it's still like, we're still not, like, we probably have more time. We're closer to 1 year old than we are to probably 80 or 70 or whatever, you know? So it's like, we're still learning.
So what I was going to say is, you know, our frontal lobes aren't done developing until we're like 25. So
we're still developing. When
you hear that, it's thinking, whoa, not done? That's so weird, because obviously through life you're going to change, but we are quite literally not done developing, and to be expected to know everything that you need to do is terrifying. But that's one of the worries of, you know, social media and things like that.
Very much so.
But so being around your family, are there any other things that
family, friends, staying like in the loop with like my church and stuff like that, like that's really important. I go to church every Sunday.
Skating, okay.
You know, and then I've made friends like skating and stuff like that. So it's like, you know, just doing things that I enjoy doing. I don't always have to be traveling somewhere or going to this event, or, you know, I could just be doing what I normally do.
Right. Awesome. Can you really skate?
I can.
Like backwards, you can do all kinds of stuff?
Well, I'm still learning how to do a lot of things, but I mean, I fall if I'm trying something new, but like I know how to go backwards. I know how to like go from forward to backwards, back to forward, like a little bit. I'm learning how to do some dance moves and stuff like that. So
I do want to get into some culture a little bit. So, you know, we're in the DMV. Because I remember I was asking you, it was like, is Maryland considered, like, I know it's obviously in the DMV, but is it East Coast? It's not Midwest?
I think it's considered East Coast.
Okay, so it's East Coast. Okay. So would you say that some of the culture that you kind of grown up with has continued to impact who you are as a person, as just how you show up in the world?
Yeah, definitely. I think growing
like
up,
slang, different things like that.
like growing up in like the DMV or like PG County to be more specific. It's very diverse here, but at the same time, it's very like tight knit. Like we all kind of go about things kind of the same way.
Okay.
Like while still being individuals, of course, but like I feel like we just all kind of we got the same idea of everything.
I think I get what you're saying. It's like we all got the same mentality. We need to get to it. We need to make sure we make things happen. We are doing different things, but as far as maybe being ambitious or just making sure that we getting things popping.
Yeah.
Okay. Cause before I was coming out here, all I could think about is certain slang terms. And just when I think of the DMV, I do think of culture. Yeah. I think of it in a very strong manner as far as slang that I didn't even know is from out here. Like I heard say less, is that from Philly or something? It's just so many different things. And I remember we was talking about it earlier. When you first got to Kent, you would say ard.
Yeah, when I would text, I would say ARD as a all right. But it's like whenever that's like all right. But whenever weird. That was like such a thing, and like that's how I would text. But when I got to Kent, and whenever I would text people that, they would be like, is that like, what is that? What is the A and the R?
Anytime you would text me that, I was thinking, is this a typo? Like, did you mean to say R?
And I'm like, you know what? At this point, I just took some of the stuff out my vocabulary. Like,
so funny. Because, I mean, I feel like there's so many different things from this area that are kind of everywhere as far as culture. And when I think about this place, it's like a hotbed of culture. Because, you have D.C., you have PG County, you got Baltimore, you got Philly, you got Virginia. So Philly's not in the DMV. Yeah. But it's close. It's so close. So when I think about all these different areas, I'm thinking, it's a lot that can go on in these few areas. Yeah. So, I was just wondering how that's kind of continued to impact who you are as a person. But I also kind of want to get into like your faith as a person. How has that continued to basically ground you and kind of help you to maintain the different things that you're doing? Because I'm pretty sure you feel amounts of pressure because again, your first video went viral. So I talk to people a lot of the time about how that's a scary place. I don't think a lot of people want to be there, honestly, because you can actually not maintain that. That might just be your one time and then nothing ever catches like that. Like you were able to maintain it and able to strategically do something with it, but some people don't do that. So how has your faith kind of continued to ground you as a person?
I think like realizing that this is kind of what God has set out for me helps me in all those moments where I'm like, nothing's happening for me. I've had months where I wasn't booking any collaborations or, just things were seeming like, has my time kind of come to an end with this whole thing? But I like just keep repeating.
Really?
Yeah. I just keep.
This is early. That's interesting.
Yeah. So I just keep repeating to myself, like, God did not bring me like to this point to just like drop it all off here. Like, no, I know he has something bigger, like, planned for me, and taking my platform to a higher level and not being afraid to share my faith when need be, to like glorify his name when need be. So it's like, and it just really does. It gives you so much peace of mind knowing that like I got God behind all of this. Right. So it just is really helpful, like when your mindset can get like low.
Absolutely. I totally agree. Because it might be times where, because like on the flip side of it, where you might think things are not going your way, but you're kind of being trained for it or being groomed for when you get the opportunity, because sometimes you have to just learn things in a different way. Yeah. So I definitely want to speak to that because I know that's a very, very important part of your life. Yeah.
And I feel like he always kind of shows me, like, whenever I have that seed of doubt, there's always like that one little thing that he does that is like confirmation. Like, all right, I'm sorry for doubting you. Like,
yeah, because I mean, for you to say that, because again, like you were just saying earlier, the Ulta collaboration. Because
that was so much confirmation for me, because like the whole month of Moment of Transparency, the whole month of January, I made $0. Like, I didn't book one single collaboration, and I'm like, dang, that's how I'm starting out the year. Like, of course, you don't do it for the money, but this is a job at this point, so this is what I'm counting on to sustain myself. Yeah. So I was like, ooh, like, do I got to figure something else out this year? Like, this year ain't starting out too cute, but let me Like, but I just was like, no, I know God has something, like, I know he's just like, prepping me up for something. And then in February, I got the Ulta thing, and now I have like a year of just stability that I can lean on. So it's like,
Wow. Yeah. I mean, even though you just said that, it really brings all of that back
yeah,
full circle, because you say that you were wanting stability and you were having doubt, and you were having doubt, and then not maybe even a month later, everything was working out. Because when you were telling the story, I just knew. I was thinking, hold up. You said the application was due
yeah,
in
it
January.
was due January.
So
And
when
I'm
you
like,
said it was due January, that means you're about to tell me you didn't have it done in January.
yeah, no,
That's what
I
you about to
didn't have
tell
it
me.
done. It was still halfway done. So I just
Yeah.
feel like that was just such a moment of confirmation.
That's
for
why I
me.
said earlier, as soon as you said someone reached out to you, if you knew the application was due in January and you didn't finish it, usually that's like, that's it.
Yeah,
As soon as you said someone reached out to you, I'm like, here comes some favor. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because as soon as you said someone reached out to you and just said, we just need you to finish it, that is basically showing me they need you to finish it so they can go ahead and finish the process of
Yeah.
accepting you. So that is a beautiful thing, and I'm happy that things have been working out for you in that way. This has been, like I said, I've been looking forward to this because I feel like I've been having so many questions for you, and we definitely got to address a bunch of them. What are some kind of questions that you're having about life in general as of right now? What are some things that are maybe making you nervous as far as maybe your next steps, different things like that?
Honestly, I've gotten to a place more recently where I'm not like nervous about the next steps. And it's taken me a long time to get there, but
That is beautiful.
honestly, you really have to put it all in God's hands. Like,
Yeah.
at this point, I'm like, God's will is going to be done regardless. So I'm so like less like, I haven't had a bad day. I was just thinking about this. I haven't had a bad day, like what I would consider a bad day, in a long time. Not in a long time, but in a little minute,
Yeah.
since I just kind of shifted my mindset of like not worrying about. I just would stress about, when am I going to move out of, like, when am I going to move away from home? When am I going to, hit this number? When am I going to do this? And when am I going to do that? And it's always this win, win, win. And it's like, appreciate now, work on right now, and the win is going to come. And my pastor preached a message about everyone prays for success, but no one prays for the surrender. So I've been just shifting my prayer. I just been shifting my prayer. Like, I just want to lay it all down. God's going to handle the success part. I got to handle my part in the surrender category. So
Always coming like that. Today.
yeah, once I worry about, I got what I just figured, do my part.
Yeah.
God's going to do the rest. So once I kind of shifted that mindset, I feel like I've just been a lot less anxious about what's next. So questioning, whatever.
Wow. No, so you said everyone prays for the success. No one prays for the surrender. That's a bar.
That's the word right there.
Wow. Cici, I just want to say thank you for being a guest, because I definitely think that you are a very interesting individual that I've had the blessing and the opportunity to know you, because as I said, when we were in college together, who would have thought, like who would have known that it would blossom, that you would blossom into this beautiful person. But I thank you again, because I was super excited to have you as a guest. I've been thinking about this ever since I knew I was about to have a second season. I was thinking, yeah, I'm gonna try and get Cici. That was probably one of my most ambitious ideas. So I'm glad that we were able to do this. I'm glad that came out here. Glad I've been able to at least see a little bit of DC, be in Maryland for a little bit. What are some last little tidbits of advice or just words that you want to leave the people with?
Just if you're, pursuing content specifically, but, anything in the creative field, just remember your why and remember why you're doing what you're doing. Because if you focus on the numbers and focus on the speed of the numbers and focus on who's watching, who's not watching, that's going to really deter you from why you're doing what you're doing. So in those moments, just remember, why am I doing this?
Yes, ma'am. All right. Thank you again so much, Cici Michelle, for being a guest on the Highlight Reel. And I want to say thank you to the listener and to the watcher of this episode of the Highlight Reel. I hope that you were able to take in some of the gems dropped, because I know a lot of people definitely want to get to where you are. And there's so many different things that you can learn from this person and from this conversation. I hope that you're able to take something away from it. That's been your episode. Peace out.